Tashdile, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. Practice compassion for a peaceful world, says His Holiness the Dalai Lama. China detains 121 Tibetans in Wonpo. Sikyong Penpa Tsering visits CTSA schools. Tibet Bureau Geneva joins discussion on China's operations in India. Paris celebrates 20th Himalayan Festival. Tibetans celebrate 61st Tibetan Democracy Day. His Holiness the Dalai Lama re-emphasized on the importance of practicing compassion to attain peace of mind, which will lead to a peaceful world. During two-day teaching on Chandrakirti's Entering the Middle Way in conjunction with the auto commentary at the request of a group of Asian Buddhists, His Holiness was asked for ways to overcome anxiety, depression and panic attack. To which His Holiness advised his audience to try identifying the cause of sufferings and find ways to do away with the causes rather than feeling disheartened about it. This is the 15th year since this particular group of South Asian Buddhists began receiving teachings from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and it is their second time receiving teachings online. Chinese authorities are currently detaining 121 Tibetans from Wonpo in Tibet's Serchul County. The Tibetans were accused of keeping pictures of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and contacting the Tibetans in exile. Chinese officials have arrested 8 more Tibetans in Wonpo township on Friday last week, in addition to 113 Tibetans who have been arrested on 2 earlier occasions when the authorities performed thorough searches of their houses for pictures of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. According to the sources, only 4 of the Tibetans, a monk, a woman and 2 men, have been released so far. However, the rest continue to be detained in Serchul County. With an aim to assess the current situation of the 5 remaining CTSA schools and to interact with the concerned staff of these schools to understand their perspectives and suggestions, Sikyong Penpa Tsering is on a week-long official visit to CTSA schools based in Shimla, Herbertpur, Mussoorie, Darjeeling and Kalimpong. Sikyong will be holding meetings with the Indian government officials regarding the transfer of schools in Delhi and discuss how to move forward in an effective manner. Sikyong received a private audience with 34th Kapche Minri Trizin, spiritual head of Phön at Minri Monastery, during his visit to the Dholanji Phön Tibetan settlement in Solan on Tuesday this week. Sikyong then visited Dholanji's Samboda Tibetan school and addressed the staff and students of the school. The Tibet Bureau in Geneva joins discussion on violations of human rights by China and CCP's growing expansionist agenda in India and across the world on Friday last week. Tibet Bureau UN Advocacy Officer Kalden Somo uncovered China's continued violation of human rights in Tibet and the suffering of Tibetans for over 60 years and called for concerted and collective efforts for protecting the universality of human rights by countering Beijing's propaganda and disinformation. The speakers, including Director of the World Uyghur Congress Chinese Affairs Section, Ishad Kokbore, founder-editor of The New India and a strategic affairs analyst, Arti Tiku, co-founder and vice president of Canadian Coalition Against Communism, Ms. Xiang Sui, and director of Southern Mongolian Human Rights Information Center, Engibadu Togochok, expressed their concern over ever-extending colonial moves by China. The virtual panel was jointly hosted by India-based think tank Law and Society Alliance and Defense Capital in conjunction with the release of a study report titled Mapping China's Footprints and Influence Operations in India. Paris hosted the 3-day 20th Himalayan Festival on Friday last week. The inauguration was attended by Madame Perry Mary, MP Mrs. Elizabeth Tutu Picard, Miss Genevieve Garrigos, Municipal Councillor Representative Tashi Phuntsok, and Secretary Namgyal Samdup of Bureau de Tibet. Representative Tashi Phuntsok highlighted the recent arrest of the Tibetans in Wonpo, Tibet during a high-profile roundtable meeting. He further said that as long as the Tibetan spirit is alive, China will be challenged. The festival is organized by Maison de Tibet and Bureau de Tibet. The Tibetan community in France lends tremendous support in the festival. Tibetans across the world, including Taiwan, London, Canberra, Japan, South Korea and France, celebrated the 61st anniversary of the Tibetan Democracy Day. Commemorating the Tibetan Democracy Day, the Office of Tibet Taiwan, jointly with the Taiwanese Parliamentary Group for Tibet, unveiled a book on 17-point peace treaty in Chinese, detailing the chronological events and facts leading to the signing of the peace treaty. The book aims to illuminate the Chinese readers about the sheer truth of decades-long Chinese oppression of Tibetans while exposing China's lies over peaceful liberation of Tibet. The book is published by Ganzhong Publication and is the 43rd edition produced by the Office of Tibet, Taiwan. Aimed at generating greater awareness among the Tibetans living in Australia about democracy in general and particularly Tibetan democracy in exile, the Tibet Information Office, Canberra, in collaboration with ACT Tibetan Community, hosted a webinar titled Tibetan Democracy. Tibetans in Japan and South Korea had a virtual celebration with featuring of a 15-minute video produced by Tibettv on the evolution of Tibetan democracy. Under the huge statue of Marianne, a temporary altar with His Holiness the Dalai Lama was erected amid hundreds of fluttering Tibetan flags on Tibetan Democracy Day at the historical French Republic Square in Paris. The Mayor Councillor Elizabeth Baptiste reassured her support for the Tibetan community in Waltham Forest and expressed her pleasure and privilege to have joined the celebration of the Tibetan democracy outside the Waltham Forest Town Hall in London. Tibetan Democracy Day was observed in London with the raising of the Tibetan national flag for the 4th consecutive year. Tibetan community in Britain commemorated the 50th founding anniversary at Old Town Hall Stratford in London on Saturday last week. The community was officially established in 1971 by a handful of Tibetans residing in the UK. The occasion was celebrated with around 300 Tibetans and friends of Tibetan community. So much for this week. See you next time and have a good weekend.